Hi there, folks. Welcome to the Talking Dog Show. We're here to support the bond between dogs and people. And today we have a remarkable show. Generally, what we do is we have experts on, we talk about various subjects, and really work to give the science behind things. I also want you to know that I've been a breeder over 50 years. I created the Royal Frenchel Frenchie crossbreed. And yeah, it's all about dogs. All right. So let me just begin by welcoming our guest, Robin Taylor. Dr. Robin Taylor. Can you bring Robin on? Thank you. Okay. Hi, Robin. Listen, sweetheart, I just want to take a moment and introduce you because you have quite a background. Um, I'm going to actually read to make sure I don't miss anything. But actually, Robin and I met at a dog food conference all about nutrition. And I was so touched and impressed with her knowledge and her willingness to share really valuable information with people. So I wanted to introduce you to her and have her on the show. And she's going to come back a few times on a number of subjects, I hope. So, Robin is a veterinarian with a specialization in public health. She's a board certified preventative medicine veterinarian. She also has or is a retired USAF Colonel with 21 years of service in epidemiology and food safety. Beyond her impressive professional background, Dr. Taylor has been a longtime breeder of rare Yorkies. And we're going to show you that. I want to show you her website because she has some of the most outstanding dogs I have ever seen. Really and truly. And I was not a fan of Yorkies beforehand just because of how they didn't typically get along with people, but hers are remarkable. And she has some of the most gorgeous colors. She specializes in uh, service and companion dogs, but also rare Yorkies. I almost said Frenchies. Those are mine. Okay. Yeah, so with her wealth of knowledge and practical experience, Dr. Taylor, or Robin to me, brings an invaluable perspective for all of us to hear. And today I want to really get down to two things, and then we'll share some more about other subjects as they come up. But one is the power of nutrition in really creating the environment for your dog where your dog does well in the relationship with you. For instance, easier training, far less, you know, difficult behavior, etc., and why that works. What does nutrition in the system do for a dog in terms of its gut being the second brain of the body, etc.? And then secondly, I want to talk about uh, how to manage your veterinarian. I just had an experience, which I'll share in a little bit with Robin this week, which was just so difficult. And I really want to talk about how to manage veterinarians because so many of us go to the vet and they want to do all these things. And we kind of go, wait a minute, not so sure I should be doing that. And how do we manage our vet care with our dogs? And really make sure they're getting the vet care they need because that's so vital and so important. And yet at the same time, not do things and not give them food from the vet that is going to disrupt their entire system and actually threaten their lives. Okay, so Robin, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be on your show.
Yeah, yeah. So, one of the things I want to talk about is the power of the gut in terms of, the entire presence of a dog, the importance of that gut life. As a breeder, one of the things that's so important to me is to have really good food. And of course, I use Pottery dog food, and you can find the link below, folks. And by the way, subscribe and hit the like if you would, please. It really helps the algorithm, and we would so appreciate it. Anyway, the power of gut health to um, to really create a life that works well in our kennel. It helps with behavior, all sorts of things, keeps the kennel calm, dogs easier to train, etc. And am I nuts or is that a real thing?
Oh, you're absolutely spot on. This is something that is, to me, the old phrase, we are what we eat, is absolutely correct for every single animal species, humans being one of them.
Yeah.
But with puppies, um, the smaller the puppy, the more important it becomes. Setting them up for success is critical. All breeds, it's important. And the tinier, the more important because they have less body. They get into trouble creating the right, what we call it, is um, absolutely critical for their overall health and longevity. People don't recognize that what we set up for them from the get go helps them throughout their entire life. And it affects their gut health, it affects their brain health, it affects their organ health, and it affects. So I'm dedicated to helping my clients learn about nutrition. And this is one of the weakest areas that general veterinarians have, because most veterinarians get about 4 days of nutrition training in vet school.
Yeah.
You have to
That's
go
just
on and get a
remarkable,
digital.
Robin.
And
It really is.
it is, and the truth is, when you step back and think about it, it actually makes sense, and we shouldn't be angry at our vets. If you go to a physician, you don't expect your physician to have a
Right.
doctorate in nutrition, but we expect our vets to know everything about every species and every subject, and it's unreasonable.
Right.
But our vets sometimes expect themselves to know everything about every species and every subject, and they get a bit over possessive and won't step back and take help from someone who actually knows nutrition more than them. And the truth is, sometimes breeders know more because they've studied it more. And that's sadly the truth in part because they've done a lot of research looking at what is best for their puppy. And one of the things that I think you have done an excellent job with is spending a lot of time learning about your dogs and what works best for your dogs, and making sure that you're concerned for your clients, making and leading them and guiding them on the nutrition that your dog should have to go home and live a good, strong life with their clients. And I applaud you for that. I think that's very important.
Oh, thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
I want to tell you the reason why this topic is such a huge passion of mine is that, my oldest guy, who was my dearest friend, Mr. White, passed this several months ago. And he had an illness that was created by food. That's what pretty much everybody believes in the veterinary industry. We had two, three specialists and so on. And of course, he was almost 17 anyway, but it was still very painful. And during the time that I was seeking, I did about 2.25 years of searching through dog food companies to try to understand why I had 7 dogs that had turned up with allergies, Robin. And I didn't have allergies in those lines. So it was odd to me that it started showing up and started showing up. And I knew it was food, but I couldn't get put my finger on it. And I was making about 3/4 of my food. We were making homemade food. We're talking real meat, all of the great ingredients that you read about, etc. And then some kibble. And at the time, it was Royal Canin kibble. And then I tried several others. I went through a test of 9 different dog foods for kibble. And as I was doing that, I was still doing research. And when I would call these companies and ask questions, the more I learned, I knew how to ask more and more questions. And they would finally just say, look, these are proprietary things. I'm sorry, we can't help you any more than what we've told you. And they would get off. And so I was very frustrated. And then I met someone, a woman by the name of Kathleen Langsdale with Pottery, and she called me out of the blue, and we ended up in a 45-minute to an hour and 15-minute conversation. She connected me up with the actual product developer inside the company. Within no time, I bought myself 2 tickets for me and Arturo Chileri, who is my right paw here all the time. You can't see him, but he's behind the scenes now. Anyway, I went to Dallas, Texas, met the president, stayed for 3.5 days. I'm telling you, I was in tears at one point over the integrity and the expression of how many people experienced that their dogs had literally healed. I mean, they didn't have the symptoms they once had. I can't say it heals them, but I can say obviously their dogs were doing so well they remain on it. And as a matter of fact, over 90% of the people who go to it, I've learned, never leave it.
Yep.
And so, needless to say, I came home, put all my dogs on it. Within 6 months, Robin, every dog I had that had allergies no longer had them. The dog that had very severe allergies, who had been on medication for all those years, maybe 4 or 5 years for the quality of life, she couldn't hack life otherwise. She was now off medication. She literally has scars remaining on her from the chewing she did, but she no longer has the allergy. And I had an 80% drop in vet bills. I mean, this is the power of nutrition, in my
Yes.
view.
Yes. You are 100% accurate. I I when I first um, started using um, pottery, and you and I came from very different paths.
Yeah.
Uh, I I discovered it from a very different angle. I had been using a mom and pop company for 20 years, and I was very, very happy with
Wow.
them. Yeah, I'd been with one company for 20 years because Yorkies have extremely finicky stomachs.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't, I had my vet bills and I had my issues, but as far as Yorkies go, you don't change things. You just don't change anything. But um, I had been with them and things were relatively consistent. And one day I started just having dogs having a lot of acute gastroenteritis. And I had always done a review of dog foods, all dog foods, every 6 months. Because in my studies in the military, I was responsible for food inspection. So, food inspection was a part of my soul. So, I knew how to do this and I knew how to get in and rank and order all of the different products. So, I would just line up all of the different foods, and the food that I used always came out in the top 5 over the over the period of the years that I was in it. So I always kept a watch. Um, but all of a sudden it tanked. And what happened is it sold out to the top three. And in the dog food industry, it's very much like the car industry. Um, the car industry is basically owned by three mega corporations, but they put a lot of different names on the cars
Right.
so that we all feel like we have a lot of different choices.
Right.
And they think we as consumers are pretty dumb. And if we have a lot of different names, we're going to think we have a lot of different choices. So, and it works pretty effectively, sadly. And they just, stamp a name on it and we buy. Um, that's very much how it is in the dog food industry. And very
Wow.
sadly, they change what is in the bag, but they do not change what is on the label. So as the seasons change, they change corn to soybean, but they don't change the label from corn to soybean because it is way cheaper for them to get fined $50,000 than to pay $400,000 to change all the labels.
Oh,
And
wow.
they probably aren't going to get caught anyway because we have very few food inspectors out there. Are much lower that they're going to get caught than they're going to get caught. I mean, then it's going to get found. So what happens is they will switch what is in the bag, but they will not change the labeling of the bag because it's cheaper. So
Right.
as the seasons change, they'll pick whatever grain or whatever filler the least expensive and they'll leave the label the same. For a big dog, that's not that important. Their guts are going to be able to handle that change most of the time. They might have a little diarrhea, but for a little dog,
Uh,
they are going to have a major gastric upset. And if they're a puppy, they can literally die. So it is
yeah,
a
they do.
very, very big issue when they change ingredients and don't change the label. So
You
one
know,
of
Robin,
the
my super micros and micros, if if I allow a vet to give them food in the vet office, oftentimes they do die and it's a horrible, horrible thing. And I have to have an absolute complete commitment and agreement with every veterinarian I to use only our food because our little tiny ones cannot make it if they change it.
right, and I could have an hour long discussion with you on just that subject alone. And I'm happy to come back into that because that
Yeah.
is a big, big issue for me. But, as far as understanding the importance of food for small dogs, and, your breed is generally much larger than my breed, the smaller you go, the more important it becomes that you have consistency. And one of the things that drew me to pottery, just like it drew you, was the ethics of the company. They absolutely do not change anything as the seasons change.
Yeah.
And they write everything as it is. If they use an organ on the bag, almost no company does that
Actually, Robin right now is in an RV traveling. And so she's kind enough to give us her time. One of the things I want to just really elaborate on is that you can imagine yourself. If you're in pain, don't you get agitated? If you have the symptoms of a flu, don't you feel low and like not doing things? And though you might get up and do stuff, you have very little patience, like with anybody trying to interfere or get involved, etc. You know, when we don't feel well, we don't behave well. And our dogs are no different. And they're always trying to talk to us, always. You know, a slight change in a dog's behavior can be a way in which they're letting you know something is wrong, something isn't working for them, or that they're in pain, or that their gut is off. And that plays a big part as a breeder. It's so important to understand that my customers need to be able to rely on the dog that they have and not get a dog that's going to act out or chew or do various different things inappropriately in their homes. And my Royal Frenchel crossbreed of Frenchies that I created about 24, 25 years ago, they're known for the dog that's manners matter most. It's sort of like people think they're born that way, but in fact, two things make a big difference in them. One is the nutrition, which Robin was just gracious enough to share the beginning part of, and we'll have another meeting with Robin in the near future. But the second thing is what we do here is a love bucket training. And what that is a series of activities with your dog, which, by the way, my book is coming out. It launches on October 4th, which is World Animal Day. It's called The Way of the Dog. The link is down below. And so please check it out, get it. Or I'm not sure actually if the link is active quite yet, but just hang in there. It's on the way. But inside The Way of the Dog, I have a whole series of exercises and fun things you can do in the natural flow of your life, not like hard work, go train, make up all this time to do XYZ, things that just sort of fit into the natural flow of your lives. And they're ways to connect intuitively with your dog. And the more you do that, the more your dog is understood by you. And the more you understand your dog. And the more intimate that connection and communication becomes, the easier it is to live with your dog. And you begin this interspecies communication, this interspecies culture. Yeah, it's a culture. Don't forget, we have lived together for over 3,000 years. Okay. That's a long time to live side by side, folks. Okay. Humankind and canines have developed ourselves together throughout history. And we have even shifted our DNA together. So, you know, there is this way in which when we look into our dog's eyes, we produce oxytocin. And when our dog looks into our eyes, they produce oxytocin. And that's the big mood booster. It's the love hormone, right? These realities about your dog are really real. And when you don't know this stuff and you treat your dog as just sort of like this, hey, it's a great little guy. I love him. I love dogs. Yeah. But you don't really understand the degree to which they have intelligence way beyond the way most people think. Do you know that dogs can learn well over, I've forgotten the actual number. It's well over 250. It's like over 1,000 or 2,500 words. Easy, easy. And you have toys today that that show you that by the little buttons they can push. The issue is that they are a different species, right? They're like an alien to us. They communicate differently. But if you find ways in which they can communicate with you consistently and ways you can communicate with them consistently, what you do is open up this Pandora's box, but instead of Pandora, it's this box of blossoming, amazing life with your dog. They become, you know, a best friend on steroids because you're actually beginning to utilize parts of their brain that they haven't been able to communicate with you with before. So, um, the basics is communicate is nutrition, and then it's about communicating and having a heartful relationship with your dog in communication, so that what you do is unlock that ease of flow in your lives. It's really quite remarkable what a dog can do when it knows it's seen and when it knows it's received for who it is, not just some overlay of what we think a dog is to us and how sweet and cute and pet it on the head kind of thing, but how Ralph has a very specific personality, and we know who that personality is. So I can see that Robin looks like she's returned. I'll see if I can hear her, but I wanted to just, whoops, I wanted to just let you know that because these two things are so vital. And of course, this is so much what this show is about.
Not sure exactly where you guys lost me because I think I
I
kept
can
talking
I can
for
tell
them.
you.
Okay.
Sure, I can tell you. So basically, you were talking about where the label is not changed, but the food is. And then you were talking about how it affected larger dogs versus smaller dogs and veterinarians and how to deal with that. And then we
Okay.
lost you.
Yeah. So, again, the difference between the large dog, small dog issue, a big dog can handle those kind of changes a lot better. Most big dogs go outside a lot. They're exposed to of different environmental factors.
Ah,
And when you get abrupt changes in their food, they may show some signs, but not as significant an effect on their body. But a little dog that, especially if they stay inside the majority of their life, the smaller the breed, the more they're going to react to these abrupt changes in food. It has a very significant reaction in their body bio. And the more they stay indoors, like a lot of my dogs are pee pad trained,
right,
they
right.
stay inside for the majority of their life. And it has a life threatening kind of effect on their bodies when they're changed. So having a food like pottery, where they commit to very, very ethic, never changing anything in it, not notified, is huge. And that's a very big deal. And you have to understand the dog food industry at the level like I do, where you've been involved in food inspection, to know just how significant what goes on in the dog food industry. To really wrap your arms around that, it's a very it's just very real. And again, I don't want to speak ill, but the difference in standards between affection and animal food inspection is very, very significant. And most
Yeah.
people, if they really studied it, would be very to see just how low the bar is for what's allowed to be served to our pets. And what I can say very happily is just how high the bar is set for pottery. And I like that. And I'm very proud of you for being a breeder that feeds pottery because, I feed pottery, but I talk to breeders all the time that go, there's no way I would feed pottery because it just costs way too much. And I
Yep.
just walk away from those breeders because I go, all they're concerned about is optimizing profit. And I
Yep.
applaud you because you are a breeder that cares about your dogs. And
Uh,
I don't see a whole lot of breeders anymore that I will spend a lot of time with because so many of them are just about what they can make off of their puppies versus
yep.
what they give to their puppies and their clients. And that's where my focus is. So I will spend the time volunteering on your show because I believe you genuinely care about the long term interests of your puppies and your clients. And that is something that matters to me.
Oh, Robin, that means a lot to me. I've been in it for the long haul, and my hope is that it continues long after I'm gone. And
That's
you can only do that with a good foundation. And that's why I've never licensed the breed anywhere either, Robin. I
yeah.
never licensed it anywhere. And anyway, I have lots to learn. I always learn from you every time we talk. I just love it. It's just, awesome. But I want to say this, you know, people say it costs more, but I'm going to tell you, don't forget about the part of my story where it's like 80% less in terms of my vet bills. I mean, that is real,
Absolutely.
Robin. I'm not joking you. I learned that it took me a while to learn about some of the products, but like the 10 in 1 vitamin covers 80, what is it? 83% of the reasons why people take their dog to the vet or their cat. And um uh if you're on it consistently, your dog has a foundational set of nutrients that
Yep.
actually protect it so that they don't end up in the vet. And I have to tell you, I was willing to tough it out thinking I was going to pay more, but do you know, in the end, Robin, I pay less than I was paying before for everything between the dog food and my vet care. If you put those two together, now I pay a higher grade dog food. And I thought I was doing so well by doing a homemade dog food, right? With all the nutrients, enzymes, probiotics, all those things. It didn't even come close to the results with my pottery. And folks, as I said, the link is down below. This is not a commercial for pottery. If you find a company that can do what pottery does, please let us know. But I'm telling you, after 2.25 years of research, and Robin, who has, my God, she's, 21 years of service in the military. She's done food, checking the food of dog food, right? For all of the animals, and being so aware of what the industry is like. What her story is and what she's sharing today absolutely is my example wholeheartedly.
And I couldn't agree more. I mean, the bottom line is when I have been using pottery for over 6 years, and when I started using it, and since I have started using it, remember I told you I was on a mom and pop company and I was
Yes.
relatively stable. I can say that since I have been on Pottery, I have not had a single, not a single case of AGE, which is acute gastroenteritis, in
Right.
any of my Yorkies. Now, when you have more than 30 adult Yorkies, and you can say you have not had a single
Wow.
case of AGE in any adult Yorkie
Right.
in over 6 years, you're saying a lot. And I use their Gastro Pro Plus faithfully, and now I am using the 10 in 1 vitamin because it has the maintenance level of the Gastro Pro Plus. And now that they have gone to offering a bundle with the plaque control and Gastro Pro Plus together, I mean, and the 10 in 1 together, they even take another part of the cost down. I'm like, make my life wonderful. All my dogs are on it. And literally, my vet, because I'm not licensed anymore, I'm retired. My vet pulled my records and went, "Do you know that your dogs have only come in for a C section and vaccines for the last 5 years. That
Same
is
here.
all my dogs have been seen for is an occasional C-section or vaccines, or an occasional teeth tooth cleaning. We will bring them in to have their teeth cleaned if I can't just pop tartar at home. If I'm retiring somebody, and but normally I stay on it myself before, because they just came out with the plaque control 6 months ago, and now that they I have that. I'm I'm probably not even going to need teeth cleanings.
I think that
The,
that plaque control is like space aid thing. I have an 8-year-old boy who had so much plaque, and I'm not
yep,
a I don't have your background. I didn't, I can't do brush all my dog's teeth or anything, right? And most people who think they're going to end up not doing it.
yep,
And so I started using the plaque control, and in 3 months, his whole tooth is now. We're going to take pictures and show him here. We'll do a show on the plaque control because I am stunned. The dogs that I've given it to, their tooth has just completely reemerged. Their breath that was horrible before, like friends would not pick up my dog because of the breath. Now they're picking him up, giving him a love because his breath is all better. And it's
yep.
not just like a breath mint, it's actually that, you know, that internal system that has shifted.
Yes. And that is a very good thing. And one of the things that I recommend, and I teach my clients, when I start all of my puppies now, when I release a baby, is recommend to all of my clients that they start their puppy on plaque control and 10 in 1 vitamins right from puppyhood. And that makes their teeth strong. It keeps the plaque off right from the beginning, and that's huge. And whenever they give their dog a bath, what
Hmm.
I add to that is get yourself a women's makeup square, because you can buy them at Walmart, Kmart, CVS for nothing, a big bag for almost nothing. And
Oh, wow.
you just take a little makeup square and put it on your finger. You can use a
You mean
finger
the
top.
foam things, right?
The little, yeah, they're little cotton, but they're flat, and
Oh, okay.
they're flat. So you
Oh, I
can
know
just
what.
take that. You can use a finger cut too if you'd rather do that. But the dogs usually, so it's just friction, and I just put it on my hand. And the reason I recommend this is you've got the biome changing, and it's helping things not to stick on. But now every 3 or 4 weeks, when you brush their teeth, or when you bathe them, you just take this a finger caught or the thing, and you just reach in their mouth with your finger, swipe once across the top, once across the inside of the top, once across the bottom, once across the inside of the bottom. It keeps your puppy used to having fingers in their mouth.
Yeah.
It keeps you looking in their mouth. It
Yeah.
keeps and it makes sure that there's nothing stuck in there, because I've seen this week, I went in and one of my clients had a puppy that was 6.5 months old. He came in to be um, neutered, and he had retained puppy teeth, and he had stuff stuck between two teeth that had been in there for months, and it had
Oh,
cut way into his gums. They never looked. This does two things. One, it makes sure that your dog is used to having its mouth worked with. Um, it actually does three things. Two, it keeps you looking to make sure there's nothing stuck. And three, if there is any film, it just keeps you making sure that it gets rubbed off. There are some dogs that that just have a biome that, even with an outstanding product like plaque control, their biome, they make a very sticky substance. The smaller the dog, they're more likely to have that. But with you adding that friction, it takes it and makes it, keeps it off. So it really helps you add that one extra step of prevention to where your dog doesn't get that horrible plaque and tartar.
yep.
Because what people really need to understand is tartar is billions and billions of bacteria, and every time your dog chews, it pops those bacteria into their capillaries, and those, the first stop is your dog's heart valves.
Hmm.
And what your veterinarian doesn't tell you
Yeah.
is what your dog died early of. When they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Fido has congenital heart failure." The reason he has heart failure is that built up on his heart valves, and the valves just couldn't work anymore. That's what caused the heart failure. That's what caused the blood to back up into his lungs or to back up into his liver. Either way, it's right sided or left sided heart failure. But what caused it was right here. And if you had
Wow.
kept those teeth cleaned, Fido could have lived another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And
Wow.
they don't teach you that. Right, right at the beginning, we could add those years to your dog's life. And I don't know why vets don't take the time to teach you that, and that you go on and you do it again and again to the next dog, but it breaks my heart. And so I'd really like people to know that, because most people would change their behavior
Oh
if
God,
they
yeah.
understood what they were doing to their dog.
And
Um,
this is exactly what happened to Mr. White. Between his biome in terms of gut issue, um, and the heart, because he had congestive heart failure in the end, and actually worked up 12 hours before he passed. Just a remarkable boy. But had I known what I know today, he might have had another year or two of a really happy life. I mean, he was older, but my little ones, everybody's getting used to dogs that don't live as long. And these little guys can live easily 15, 20 years if they're treated properly.
Yes.
And, I have a 17-year-old right now. Unfortunately, she was the one who had the severe allergies previous to this new food and everything. And she's no longer on any of that med, but that medicine affected her horribly. She has cancer now. She was on, steroids and Apoquil and Cytopoint shots, and I mean, they did everything under the sun to her. Her poor liver, God knows what what it went through, and and I was well-meaning. And this is the thing: dog people want to do the right thing for their animals, but they
Right.
need to be educated and really understand what is an intervention that works, because there's so much friggin' marketing out there that is just total BS. And I was watching recently a number of dog videos online, because obviously I'm in the business, I'm doing a show, and I started doing fact checking through Grok and what is the other, well, anyway, another AI, and Perplexity. And I'm telling you, they were completely fake. And I was like, dear God, they're making money on this channel, but they're not giving people, the truth. So I want to just say to everyone, this show may take a while for us to get more professional, to do a better job, but you can see our new set here today. I'm pretty proud of that, and thanks to Robin for hanging in there while we got set up, which was like going through hell here. But you know, we're dedicated to the truth here as best as we can share it, and we're dedicated to the education and the joy between dogs and people. It just is, it's such a great life when you have a buddy by your side, for sure. Okay, well, there she is. Okay, good. Well, Robin, I did have one other thought that I wanted to ask you. I'm trying to remember what it was. um Oh gosh, what was it? Well, you answered part of it by describing what happens, with the tartar buildup and the plaque in the heart and all of that, which is so vital. And the other thing I just thought I wanted to just touch on briefly, and we can come back to this topic, but the 10-in-1 vitamin, I was so thrilled when that came out, because of, you know, I would love to understand it better. I think our viewers would like that too.
Okay. I have really appreciated the 10-in-1 vitamin because it makes it very easy for most people, um, as opposed, here's the difference. The words therapeutic level, which means medical level, versus maintenance level. So
Yeah.
let me describe it like this. When I was a kid, my mother gave me Flintstone vitamins. And and I said, "Why do I need to take this?" And she said, "Because I love you." And I went, "Oh, okay." And she said, "Well, I feed you the best I can, but sometimes I might miss some today's meal." So pottery makes a premier food that meets all of the minimum requirements for a dog's nutrition. But sometimes when the dog, like my dog, is pregnant, or my dog is doing an agility competition, or
Right.
my dog is doing some other special thing, like really working hard in, even in a brain situation where they're doing therapy work, and they're really focusing, maybe they don't have absolutely everything that they need for that particular thing because they're really pushing the limit and their food meets all the minimum requirements, but they need optimal requirement right then. So I want them to have a vitamin that is giving to all of their body systems. And yeah, I'm going to accept the fact that they might, excuse me for being, blunt, but pee some of it out because they don't need all of it.
Yeah.
But I'm making sure they're going from minimal to optimal every day of their life because I
Awesome.
want that extra there because I love my dog and their maintenance levels not at a minimal level but at an
Right.
optimal level every day. And if they pee a little bit of it out, okay, I can live with that. But I have now taken them so that it's there for their eyes to be at optimum, for their skin and their coat to be at optimum, for their gut to be at optimum, because the new tech has probiotics and prebiotics and enzymes there at a maintenance level, not as high as if I give GastroPro Plus a therapeutic level, not as high as if
Yep.
I give salmon oil at a therapeutic level, not as high as if I give, everything at the therapeutic level, but it's there at the maintenance level. So if I have a dog that I know is having gut issues, then I'm going to give them GastroPro Plus. But right now, I'm backing down and I'm able to save myself money because Patry is being really kind and
Yep.
ethical, and they're combining the 10-in-1 vitamin with the plaque control, and they're making it a bundle, and they're giving it one-on-one unit, and I'm going glory hallelujah,
Yeah, me
because
too. Because I have to buy
because
a shoot load of it.
yeah, and I'm using that for my small dogs, and because it says one for X amount of weight, and my dogs weigh less than that, I'm building formulas and putting it in their food.
It's so awesome. Robin, you're just astounding. I'll tell you, I just, I love you so much for the love you give because, obviously you're retired from veterinarian work, but, every day you help so many people with the sharing that you're so willing to give, so generously give. And, God, I just love it. I tell you, I could talk for hours about all this. But we have to move on for today because we're close
So
to the end of the show. And I just want to say thank you. Let's come back. I'm going to make an outline of a number of different shows. We'll talk about it. And folks, we're going to bring you some of the best information that you can possibly imagine. And don't worry, we're going to also talk about the intuitive development, and maybe we'll blend it between the two, between you and your dog, so that you're getting a well-rounded real lift for the bonding that you so want to have. So Robin, much love to you. I'm going to show some pups and my thermos, and then we'll close the show. But I want to thank you for being so willing to be here while you're riding in your RV to your destination.
my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Much love to you, dear. Thank you
Bye
again.
bye.
Bye-bye. Well, folks, she's just stunning. And I want to tell you, Arturo always calls me a national treasure because of the length of time and how much I work with animals. But I have to tell you, I'm nothing close to what Robin Taylor is. Dr. Taylor is one of the greatest experts I've ever met, and she shares so much really good information. She treats us like we have brains and that our dogs have brains, and, that it's worthwhile to share such vital information. Well, okay, let's share some pups. And I just want to show you, Arturo, I don't know if you can turn a little bit because I want to show my lovely sculpture. This is a sculpture that has meant so much to me over many, many years. So my coyote is right there with us. Here we go. So I want to just show you a couple of dogs. This here is Charlie Ray. Oh yeah, and Charlie is not on the website yet, but he will be on the website very soon. And yeah, that's royalfrenchel.com. You can see the links below. Whoops. You can see the links below. All of these dogs here are Royal Frenchels that I have, all except for one that you'll see run around and not look like anybody else. So this is little Charlie. Oh, he's so excited to see me. You can't see him so well. So let me show you this way. Yeah. Oh, he's so good. Okay, and now I'm going to show you his sister. His sister is Charlotte. And this is little Charlotte. And these guys have ears up. Royal Frenchels come with ears up, ears down, or one ear up and one ear down. And no, I will not cut them. We only cut tails on a Royal Frenchel because the tail grows out a little bit, and later it can cause a problem when they sit. It can cause an abscess on the tail. Nope. Yeah, thank you. That was really great, Arturo. Could you turn it? Thank you. And so that's the only reason why we dock tails sometimes. Many of them are born with just that little tiny tail. Hi, Charlotte. You're such a good girl. And then this little gal here is Bunny. And Bunny is just an absolute doll who I'm so in love with. Hi, Bunny. Oh, yes. Oh, is such a good girl. So I'm just going to show you here, lift her up a little bit so you can see her. Oh my God. And these guys don't have breathing issues and they live 14 to 18 years. And if you use the information we gave to you on the show today, they may very well live longer. We'll see. We'll see. Let's all live on into these healthy days ahead. And I have one other thing I want to show you, which is our thermos. Whoops, I've got the pink one here. And this thermos is on Amazon. You can find the link below. It's got a really pretty copper logo here. And the bottom part just screws off. Let's want to make sure. And you've got one and then two bowls, one for food, one for water. And also you've got the area where you can drink as well and enjoy a drink while your dogs get theirs. Everybody on your road trip, everybody going to town to do errands, everybody gets a treat, and it's a sweet bonding ritual that I do regularly in my fabulous Tesla, which I love because it has dog mode. All right.
Right there. You see that?
Oh, yes. I wanted to show you some of Robin's puppies. She raises very rare Yorkies. And I thought I would share her puppies. Take a look at this puppy. It's like I don't know if she calls it a blue merle or what, but it is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And she also has blue-eyed Yorkies, which is very, very rare. I mean, she's the one who developed it over many, many years. Yeah. Can we see a different one, Turo?
Let's see.
It's the same one over and over.
So here's their site. You want to say her address?
Oh yeah, and this is another one. This is her little blue-eyed Yorkies. And the name of her website is
Roman Empire Yorkie.
RomanEmpireYorkies.com. So again, I'll say it, RomanEmpireYorkies.com. All right, loves. Everyone have a wonderful day. Give your dogs a big hug. And remember to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.